Hi everyone, I'm Yasha and welcome to the 25th episode of Election Scoop. This episode will tackle the most important parts of the many primaries that have happened in June this year. We won't be looking at all the races, but we will be looking at the most important ones, which have ramifications on the national level. We'll start with a whopper, California, my home state. California is so big and so complicated that it takes weeks to actually count all the ballots cast. Not only does California's size make it difficult to conduct smooth elections, but there were also some election irregularities, such as when more than 100,000 registered voters in Los Angeles County were stricken from the voter rolls, really. The situation is made more complicated due to California's top two system, which has all candidates of all parties compete in each other in the same primary, with the top two moving on to the general election. This created fears for the Democratic Party because with the sheer number of candidates in some races, there was concern that Democrats would be locked out of several races, meaning they would not gain any of the top two slots. As far as we can tell, locking out has happened in 10 of the 53 congressional districts. In one race, only Republicans will be on the ballot, and in 9, only Democrats will be on the ballot. Democrats will also be the only two candidates in the California Senate race, with incumbent Dianne Feinstein going up against State Senator Kevin De Leon, both Democratic candidates. Alabama's primaries, on the other hand, were nothing heralded, nothing big and flashy like California's were. The Republican Party got around 70% of all primary ballots cast, meaning that the upset victory of Democrat Doug Jones in the special U.S. Senate election probably won't have a big long-term effect, with the election seen as more of an exception than a rule or the beginning of a trend. One notable race, however, was the Republican primary for Alabama's 2nd Congressional District. Incumbent Martha Roby was unable to obtain the 50% threshold needed to win a primary outright, and will have to compete in a runoff at a later date. Her opponent, interestingly, is Bobby Bright, who himself was a United States representative a while ago, but he was a Democrat back then, at a time when Alabama was still predominantly Democratic on the local level. Now he's a Republican running for his old seat. Likewise, South Carolina Representative Mark Sanford lost his renomination to the House of Representatives by a 4-point margin. These were the two most important defeats of this month. A state with a larger share of coverage in the election media, Virginia, is next. Virginia is a Democratic-leaning swing state that held its state elections last year, 2017. Those elections were a major boost for the Democratic Party, and have many Democrats optimistic about defeating a number of congressional Republicans this election cycle. The most watched race, however, is the Senate race. Incumbent Democratic Senator Tim Kaine, Hillary Clinton's vice presidential nominee in the 2016 presidential election, is running for re-election to the Senate. We knew he would get the nomination, but as it turns out, he's facing Republican Corey Stewart, who, like Kaine, was born in Minnesota, and is a very controversial candidate, known for his support of Confederate monuments in the South and for his conservative views on many social issues. Nevertheless, this race has been rated as safely Democratic for a long time, and despite the news coverage it's gotten, it doesn't look like it will be switching hands anytime soon. So those are the most important elections that were held last month. We'll be back to cover elections that happened and analyze what is happening next for the states that are still coming to hold their primaries. So thanks for watching, and remember, don't forget to vote.